Chris Cole was born and raised in southeastern Idaho. After going through a rather public coming out as a local reporter, Chris chose to pursue a different career in his interest in books. Since then he has had 4 books published, written a play that has been locally performed, and is currently in the editing phase of his first screenplay, a gay Christmas romance. He also has written dozens more novels to get up to snuff, including a sci-fi trilogy, a fantasy series, a paranormal romance, and a children's book. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in counseling, and resides in Idaho with his husband, Trent, and their lovable and stubborn dog, Chewy. He is the author of the following books: Everyday Vampire, Porch Light, Avoiding Aiden, Puppy Love. BREW question: did you love reading books when you were little? Why or why not? Author's response: I was a reading machine when I was younger. I ended up with a 12th grade reading level when I was in 6th grade, meaning I could read more complicated books. But I decided not to, and I read a lot of science fiction, like Animorphs. I also enjoyed the series of unfortunate events and, like many kids, grew up with and then out of Harry Potter. BREW question: at what age did you start reading books? What were your best memories of that time? Author's response: I was reading books and speaking in full sentences at a very young age. My favorite was reading a new book and then telling everybody all about it. Then, when I'd meet someone who had read the same book, we could ask questions and hypothesize about things. As I got older and reading became required, I stepped away from it. When I found myself yearning for stories, that's when I began writing. BREW question: what was the first book you loved reading? Why? Author's response: Animorphs. The idea of these kids around my age going through all these amazing things was so incredible. I even pretended to be an Animorph with a friend in elementary school to sneak around the basement of the school. It was fun, and the best part was we didn't get caught. BREW question: when did you first think about writing your first book? Why? Author's response: I wrote my first book in 8th grade, a story about the alphabet. I think it was for a class assignment, but I still had a lot of fun, and I won an award for it. Don't remember what for, but the teachers seemed to like it. All throughout high school I worked on a story about the end of the world creating superpowered mutants through the radiation, which eventually morphed into the very different sci-fi trilogy I'm working on now. But I didn't sit down and finish a book until I left my job as a TV news reporter, and I had nothing else lined up. I took the summer to write the first book of the trilogy. BREW question: what was the greatest obstacle you've encountered when you were writing your book? What made you overcome it? Author's response: there are 2 in equal measure, time and myself. First, with time, I just don't have enough time in my life to write all the things I want to write. I want to be a full-time author, but it's just not feasible. Secondly, I am so bad, or good, at distracting myself with cool social media things and other books from other authors that I lose sight of my own writing. And when I do, I can bounce between 5 or 6 projects until they're all done at the same time, or never finished at the same time. BREW question: what pieces of advice can you give aspiring authors? What worked for you? Author's response: I don't like to put pressure on myself. Writing books is fun. The marketing of them on my own is not my favorite, but it comes with the territory. I also don't set deadlines for myself often, which allows room for creativity and to pursue what project I'm passionate about at the time. If I can't think of what to write in on project, or any project, I focus on other things, like reading, or using prompt notebooks to get ideas flowing. But I don't always do that. Sometimes I let a project sit for a year before I come back to it. And that's so helpful to get fresh eyes and see what works and what doesn't work. BREW question: who are the authors or what are the books that had the greatest influence in your own writing? Why? Author's response: K.A. Applegate was who inspired me to write. Her writing in Animorphs was so accessible, and I loved her characters and their arcs. I was also inspired by Lemony Snicket. His books were the first to make me feel complete despair, and not have a happy ending. It helped me understand that not everything has to be perfect. BREW question: what are your current or future writing plans? What can readers further expect from you? Author's response: I have a screenplay currently in the review process, a play I'm hoping to have a full production of soon with a local theater partner, and 2 audiobooks of my 2 most recent books to come out. I have a sci-fi trilogy I'm currently rewriting, a fantasy series planned, with 6 novellas written that I'm currently editing into an 8-part epic series. At least, I hope it will be epic, a paranormal romance, a children's book, several other romances, and a few short stories I've been working on here and there. Plus, some vaguely specific ideas in the works. Overall, I have no idea what's going to take off next, but I have a lot of goals, so I'm hoping it will end up just as big as my dreams. Dash dash. Know more about our author and his books via the following links. Visit our author's website. View Porch Light on Amazon. View Avoiding Aiden on Amazon. View Puppy Love on Amazon. View Everyday Vampire on Amazon. Dash. Connect with the Chrysalis BREW project. Promote your book with us.